Hey there, my name is Jonathan Page. I'm the Director of Connectional Ministries for Innovation and Creativity in the Virginia Annual Conference, and I want to welcome you to another video preparing us for General Conference 2024. The Virginia Annual Conference is going to be sending a delegation to our global meeting of United Methodists in Charlotte, North Carolina, April 23rd through May 3rd of 2024. And what we're doing in these videos is trying to share a little bit about some of the themes of what we're going to be talking about at General Conference. So today I am excited to be joined by John Fuller from our annual conference office, and we're going to talk about changes that are being proposed to benefits. So that's going to be very exciting. John, thanks for joining in today. Would you mind just telling folks a little bit about your role in our annual conference?
Sure. So I'm the director at Virginia United Methodist Pensions Incorporated, which is also known as VUMPE. VUMPE is the Virginia Conference agency that administers our clergy benefit programs. VUMPE is also our conference pension board, and what that means is that we are auxiliary to Wespath, and Wespath is our denomination's general agency that administers pension plans. So we help with the administration of our denominational pension plans at the conference level.
That's awesome. And that's fitting to why John is here to join us today, because Wespath, which is a general agency of the church, has proposed some changes to how we do benefits in the United Methodist Church. And so just kind of from a top level, John, would you kind of describe, I know there are a couple of different areas of legislation that they're proposing.
Sure. So Wespath has submitted multiple petitions for general conference consideration. I think there are generally three categories of petitions. There's one that deals with governance, and so what that would call for is the creation of a new U.S. regional body that can address issues that only apply to the United States. If you think back a few decades, the number of people going to General Conference, the vast majority was from the U.S.
Right.
That's no longer the case, so this would simply create a body that is U.S.-based and can deal with U.S.-based, U.S.-focused issues. The second category is around Wespath's sustainable investing principles, and they are required to be both a fiduciary and act in the interests of our plan participants, and also comply with our denomination's socially responsible investing principles. And Wespath has a three-part strategy by which they do that, and that is to invest in companies that are making positive social and environmental change, engage with companies where there is an opportunity to improve their performance with social and environmental issues, and then avoid investing in companies that would fall outside of the socially responsible investing guidelines. And so what Wespath is seeking there is really an affirmation of that strategy. I will note that there are other petitions that would call for a different strategy, really kind of focused on the same goal ultimately, but in a different way. And those petitions would call for simple divestment from companies, for example, that produce fossil fuels. While I think, again, the intent of that type of petition is really the same as what Wespath is focused on, it's just a different way of getting there. And so while divestment, essentially what that would mean is that Wespath would be called on to sell the shares of the companies that they hold that produce fossil fuels. The reason that doesn't really make sense for an entity like Wespath is actively engaged with these companies and pushing for positive change.
Right.
Wespath is a leader in global investor initiatives that are collectively trying to work with these companies to make social and environmental improvements. And so divesting from those companies, they would lose their voice, they would lose their seat at the table with the companies. And also, when an entity divests from a company, essentially they're simply selling their shares to whoever is willing to buy them.
Right.
And so, perhaps that would be somebody who's ambivalent about those issues, or even worse, they might say, do whatever it takes to maximize earnings, even at the expense of the environment. So focusing on and endorsing Wespath's current strategy seems like a prudent approach.
And to be clear, that secondary approach that you mentioned, that's not coming from Wespath. That would be others who are
Correct.
proposing
Thank you.
that would be a way forward.
Correct. Those are petitions submitted by other entities other than Wespath.
And then, so those are two really important categories, it sounds like, within this. And then I know I've heard and read, as a general conference delegate myself, a little bit about the Compass Plan, which is kind of a new way of approaching benefits package for clergy.
Yes, and that is the third category. And
Okay.
that, from my perspective as the benefits guy in the Virginia Conference, that's the most significant.
Sure.
So what Wespath is recommending is a new iteration of a retirement savings program for Virginia Conference, for United Methodist clergy. In our denomination, we have had several different phases of retirement savings programs. We started with the program that's now known as Pre-82, went into the ministerial pension plan in 1982. The clergy retirement security program was launched in 2006. This would simply create a fourth version that would launch in 2026. And the main thing that is going to be accomplished with Compass, if approved, is switching from a pension program that has defined benefit features to a totally account balance based plan. The reason for that, the motivating factor for making that shift, is the recognition that defined benefit pension plans result in long-term liabilities that conferences have to deal with. We're talking 70, 80 years. Sure. We are a shrinking church, so having a pension program that will saddle the future church 7 or 8 decades from now with defined benefit liabilities doesn't seem like the most prudent approach to clergy retirement savings. So Wespath has worked hard to develop this new Compass plan that will continue to focus on some of the core interests of our denomination when it comes to clergy retirement savings programs, like structuring the plan in a way that will help to ensure adequate retirement savings for clergy who may be at the lower end of the compensation scale. And also, while not guaranteeing lifetime income like a defined benefit pension plan does, having features that will help support lifetime income. There is a program called Life Stage Retirement Income that will be connected to the Compass pension plan and will help our retired clergy ensure that they will have an adequate chance of having retirement income throughout their lifetime.
Sure. And as a clergy person, I'm really grateful for that. That sounds like a good idea. And I think a lot of the core of these Wespath proposals is really about seeing forward for the future of the church.
Absolutely.
And making sure that the United Methodist Church has sustainability, not only for the next few years, but for the next several decades.
Absolutely.
John, are there any other kind of closing thoughts that you have about benefits and kind of the impacts that General Conference could have on this?
Sure. Well, I guess a closing thought would be, I'd like to just acknowledge that Wespath has done a lot of work to really develop a Compass detailed proposal that continues to be a very generous pension program. The structure of the plan, if compared to the average secular employer retirement savings program, it is still a very generous program. Obviously, there are trade-offs between defined benefits and account balance-based plan. From the Virginia Conference perspective, I think we should also be grateful that Wespath is operating in our interests, that Absolutely. We are not looking at a pension plan that's going to saddle us with large defined benefit liabilities for many decades into the future. So I think both from the clergy perspective and the conference perspective, it is a very good and well-designed proposal, and I hope that the General Conference will support it. I'd also like to express my gratitude to the General Conference delegates. I know that it requires a lot of time, a lot of work, and I'm grateful to you and everyone else on our delegation who will be going to General Conference this year.
Of course, I think I would speak for our whole delegation when I say it's an honor, and we're grateful for the work of the Pension and Benefits Office in Virginia, and what you ought to know as a part of the Virginia Annual Conference is that this is part of how we work together and how we make sure that folks are taken care of who are working on behalf of the church and working within the church. And so I think this is an important theme, and as John's outlined for us, a real opportunity to shape where we're headed. So if you want more information about this theme, please visit our website, baumc.org, where you can find this video along with all of our topical videos around General Conference 2024, as well as other preparatory information. I know you can also, I think it's bumpy.org.
That's correct.
If you want to find out more specifically about the work of pensions and benefits in the Virginia Annual Conference. But know that we're grateful for your time and attention to tune into today's topic video, and I hope you have a great day, be blessed, and we'll be seeing you again real soon.